Hello and welcome to another edition of Yokai of the Day. It's been a hot minute since I've done a video because I've been sick. So I went to my favorite website, hit random, and here we go. Today's yokai is Kanibōzu. Now, I am extremely Caucasian, so my pronunciations are not going to be excellent. But what I lack in my ability to pronounce things properly, I try to make up for in my enthusiasm because I am a die-hard yokai nerd. These are giant crabs that occasionally like to take on the form of priests and inhabit old and abandoned empty temples, and to maintain them. Overall, their gig is not an evil one. Though some stories say that they are evil priests that have been turned into crabs, most stories kind of just sort of agree that they are just big, kind of evil-ish crabs that inhabit old temples. With yokai, there's not a whole lot of deep lore a lot of the time. We get tales, and we put together what we can. What's interesting though is there were about 4 temples that have been said to have had Kanibōzu in them. I would try to pronounce them, but I'll mangle them, so it's these 4 temples here. Give you a second to read them, soak it in. Now the thing with Kanibōzu is it said that if traveling priests or if a priest that has come to maybe take up the mission of being in that temple arrive, then the Kanibōzu will ask them a riddle, and if they fail, they are eaten. I don't know if it's whether to determine whether they're good enough to take up the mantle of being in that temple or if they're just silly guys. There's one story of a temple where every priest that was dispatched to it ended up disappearing overnight, so much so that the people of the village thought that it was haunted. Then one day, a traveling priest comes by. He goes door to door asking if there's any place that he can stay. And nobody has any space for him, so they say, go up to the temple. Kind of a dick move on the villagers' part. They know this guy's gonna be dead. But the wandering priest goes up to the temple and, being exhausted from traveling, ends up falling asleep. He wakes up in the middle of the night to a loud sound, and directly in front of him is a priest leering over him. And he asks this incredibly difficult riddle. What has 8 small legs, 2 large shells, walks sideways, and has 2 eyes pointing straight towards heaven? Well, the priest goes, "You are a crab!" And he grabs his staff and he whacks the priest really hard. The priest, taken aback, sheds his disguise and becomes a giant, horrifying crab, with now a giant crack down its shell. And he scuttles out of the building. The priest, kind of feeling like he done did his job, I guess went back to sleep, and the next morning when the villagers came to check on him, he said to them, "Go drain the pond that's behind this temple. There's a yokai in it." So they all went out, they drained it, they found the crab with the giant crack down its shell, and they found all the bones of all the priests that had been dispatched there before. Happy ending, traveling priest becomes resident priest of that temple. So, good. Unlike a lot of yokai where there's some fun, definitive way to defeat them, I guess you would just defeat them the way you would a giant crab. Also, if they ask you a riddle, maybe hone up on your riddling skills. That riddle weren't particularly hard. I don't know, some of the other Kanibōzu probably had way more clever riddles than that one. I just think it is a good survival skill in general to just be good at riddles. Anyway, that's your yokai of the day. Kanibōzu, crab priest. You're safe as long as you're not a priest, really. All right, love your faces. Have a good day. Bye.